Okay, guys, I will be starting from where we stopped, and that is 8.3. We will be looking at the stages of team uh, development. So, when talking about the stages of team development, it's actually telling us that how do we form teams? How do we get into teams? What are the stages we need to go through? And at the same time, before teams can start performing, they need to develop. So what happens? What are the stages that we need to go through before we can start performing? And at the same time, what are the stages of team development? So let's take a look at the first thing that actually occurs. And when you are answering this question, you need to be smart, and at the same time, you need to know what you're doing, because every of these stages has different how can I say it, different meanings and different activities that actually occurs in this stage. So when you're talking about uh, team development, what is the first stage every team members have to go through? The first one is what we refer to as forming. So when you're talking about forming, it talks about when we come together. In this stage, team members get to know. That is very, very important. You get to know each other and accept the roles in the team. So that is the first thing. Forming, in that forming stage, we come together, we get to know each other, and at the same time, we accept other roles, the roles in the team. This is a comfortable stage to be in, because we are still new. You are still forming. That is what it means. You still new. You still forming. You still getting to know each other, and people focus on being busy with routines that this is the way it's supposed to be done. Let's follow the procedures, such as a team organization. For example, who does what, and when to meet each other. So the practical example I'm going to give to you, grade 12, is actually when you guys were in grade 8. So you came from different schools. Some people actually came from different provinces. You came from different background. You came from different environment, different houses, and you were being put in a class. And the first thing you need to do is to get to know each other, is to get to know someone's name, get to know which school they're coming from, and accept the roles that have been given to you. Okay, this one is going to be the class captain, this one is going to be the assistant class captain, this one is going to be, different roles that has been given to you. You accept it. When a teacher tells you, okay, keep quiet, this is the rules and regulation, you keep quiet, and so on and so forth. That is the forming stage, which every member has to go through before they can function as a team. Then after the forming stage, we have what we refer to as the storming stage. So when you're talking about the storming stage, this is a conflict stage. At this stage, there is conflict because they confront each other with ideas. Or we can say confronting each other, or sometimes you start questioning each other's ideas. You start questioning each other's behavior. The storming stage, that is when people clash. That is the clashing stage. That is when people fight. Okay. Teams go through a period of unease or conflict after the formation. Different ideas from team members will compete for consideration. Now, you don't want to accept what that Lena was doing to you, or that Lena is too lousy. Can you please keep quiet? Now you want to complain about other people's opinion, and at the same time, that Lena eats too much in the classroom. That Lena, why are you changing my seat? Why are you asking the whole class to keep quiet? You're not the class captain, and blah blah blah. That is the storming stage. Now you begin to question, or maybe you have a Zimbabwe in your classroom. The person now speaks, you're like, oh, he's speaking like this. Or you have a Nigerian in your classroom, and then you burst out laughing. Oh, this person is speaking like this, and the other person is also saying, yeah, that is my culture, that is the way. That is the storming stage. You question each other, you laugh at each other, you do not want to listen to other people's opinion, and it happens in every team. The storming stage happens, it's normal because different ideas are competing for consideration. You want to put up your hand and say, Miss, we can stay after school. The other person say, no, Miss, we cannot stay. My taxi is there, my bus is there, and so on and so forth. So team members open up to each other and confront each other's ideas or perspective, or we can even say a suggestion. Then after the storming stage, we now have what we refer to as the third stage, which is the numbing stage. When you're talking about the numbing stage, it means things becomes normal. That is the calming stage. Things tends to be more calmer. Team members accept, that is the key word for a numbing stage. They accept each other and set common goals and values for the team members. So the numbing stage is that you accepting that person. Oh, she's lousy. Oh, I'm used to her. You accepting that person. Oh, there is Miss Oyewo. Oh, this is the way she speak. Oh, I'm used to Miss Oyewo. Oh, there is that. Oh, it's fine. I understand what she's saying. Accepting people for who they are. Likewise, we teachers also, we go through that stage because we are in a classroom. The common goal is to have 100% pass rate. So we forming, we come together, we're going to storm. You know, when it's time for me to shout on you, I do that. I'm good at that. But later on, they edit everything that normalizes. So which means, you know, in my class, there's no chewing gum, there's no back chatting, there's no coming late, there's no noise when I'm speaking. Now you accept that. Okay, so you was class. Oh, you accept that. You normalize things. We're setting a common goal. You accept people for who they are. That is the way she speaks. That is the language. That is the way she dresses. That is the kind of food he or she brings to school. You accept them for who they are. Likewise, other people accept you for who you are in your team. Team members form agreement. Please, I actually want you to underline that. Agreement and what? A consensus. So we're talking about agreement is the same thing as consensus. Team members form an agreement and a consensus. Roles and responsibilities are clear and accepted. That is the word. You accept what is being given to you. Processes, working style, and respect develops. That is very, very important. That means you accepting that person for who they are, you respecting them, and you getting used to their working style. The number 4, after the acceptance, or what we refer to as norming, is then we have the performing stage. So forming, coming together, storming, clashing, disagreeing, norming, accepting, that is the only time you can move forward. That is the performing stage. In this stage, team members are achieving, I want you to underline that, they are achieving their goals. Team members are aware of strategies and aims of the team. They have direction with interference from the leader. They have direction, without the interference. So which means without the leader, you know what to do. Even if I'm not in the classroom, you know what to do. If I tell you I want to quickly step downstairs and get water, you know what to do. To keep quiet and read. That is the only time you are performing. And leaders delegate. Assigning, that is the meaning of delegation. You assign and oversee the processes and in the procedures. So, that is the performing stage. So for a team member to perform, there's no way they can jump those first 3 stages we've spoken about. There is that learner in grade 8 that you never liked, but that learner is now your best friend in grade 12. But before you people can be best of friends, firstly, you forming, you come together, you get to know each other. Later on, you storm. Oh, no, she's too lousy. Oh, she's too dirty. Oh, she doesn't wash her uniform. Oh, all those sorts of nonsenses. And later on, the norming stage. You accept that person for who she is or who he is. You don't really get so agitated or frustrated when that person says something to you. But before, in the storming stage, if the person says it to you, you over the board. But the numbing stage, you accept them for who they are. And that is the only time you can start performing, which is the fourth stage. That is, you'll be able to achieve your goals. You don't need to be told what to do. You know what to do. You know how to handle conflict. And number 5 stage, or the 5th stage, is what we refer to as the morning stage or the adjourning stage. When you're talking about the adjourning stage, in this stage, team members have to leave a team and prepare themselves for the next team. So I like using the grade 12 as my example when I'm explaining this topic, because at the end of grade 12, after writing your matric, your valedictory is what we refer to as adjourning. That is the morning stage. That is when everybody needs to go their separate ways and move on to the next stage. And at the same time, the focus is the completion of the task or ending of a project. So when you're talking about the adjourning stage, you might not find it in some textbook, and you will find it in some. So the adjourning stage is actually meant for a temporary team. Temporary team in what sense? The moment they finish the task that brought them together, then after the completion of the task, everybody goes their separate ways. So that is why I like using grade 12 as an example. That is, you coming together in grade 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and after grade 12, you go your separate ways. So those are examples of a temporary team. So in some workplaces, very few, some workplaces are permanent. We have permanent teams. And even they are permanent teams. Sometimes they might not go through the adjourning stage, but most team members go through the adjourning stage, because the moment they finish the task, they complete the task, they do break up. And at the same time, that kind of breaking, when you look at the third bullet, it says breaking up the team may be traumatic, as team members may find it difficult to perform as individuals once again. All tasks need to be completed before the team finally does what? Does dissolve. So the adjourning stage is when everybody gives, how can I say? Everybody leaves. The task has been completed. You have to give certificate or give award to the most hardworking members, and all team members go their separate ways. So these are the 5 stages of team development in the workplace. The forming stage, getting to know each other, is the key word, and accepting the role of everyone in the team. And at the same time, it is the most comfortable stage, whereby you still new, you still getting to know each other, and so on and so forth. And after the forming stage, the team members now move on to the storming stage. The storming, the clashing of conflict. People disagree. People question other people's opinion. Why do you want us to do it that way? Why must you do it? Why must we do it in your way? And you too, why do you like raising your voice? Sit down, and so on and so forth. Then you clash, you fight. And after the fight comes the numbing. Numbing means normalizing, accepting each other, setting a common goal, respecting each other, and at the same time having a clear responsibility and you knowing what to do. And the 4th stage is the performing. That is when team members start achieving. So the achieving is the key word in the performing stage, which is very, very important. And after you've achieved, there comes the adjourning or the morning stage. That is when members leave the team and prepare themselves for the next team, and they complete the task. There's going to be a breaking up. There's going to be a valedictory. There's going to be a speech. You're going to say goodbye to yourself, and you move on to the university, which is the next phase of life. So that is that on stages of team development. If there's any question, do not hesitate to send that to me. And 8.4, before I round up for today, we'll be looking at importance of team dynamic theories in improving team performance. Team dynamic theories explain how effective team can work or can operate. So when you're talking about a theory, it's just an hypothesis of certain group of individuals that came up with suggestions for you. For if you want your team to be successful, you need 9 people in that team. If you want your team to be successful, some said you only need 3 people. If you want your team to be successful, some can say you need 6 people. So we'll be looking at all those theories. Businesses are able to allocate tasks according to the roles of team members. And I think we did something similar in grade 11. I think grade 11 we spoke about the Belbin theory, if I'm not mistaken, and we spoke about the Jungian theory of team dynamics in grade 11. And team members with similar strength may compete for team tasks, responsibilities that best suit their abilities and the competences. Conflict may be minimized. Can you see that? It's not saying there's not going to be conflict in the workplace. There will always be conflict in the workplace, whether you like it or not, because you are not the only one in the workplace. You're also going to find someone that has your own, how can I say, your character, your behavior. You are bossy. You are still going to meet someone else that is bossy in the workplace. And in that instance, the two of you will be competing for a spotlight. And yeah, that can cause conflict in the workplace. So conflict may be minimized when team members perform different roles. So if I'm bossy, I need to be taken to another team or another group or another section of the workplace whereby I can work with people that are a little bit calmer than me. That is a way of minimizing conflict in the workplace. So we will be looking at all those team theories later on. And lastly, for today, I want to quickly look into the causes of conflict or the reason for conflict. And I've noticed that when learners are actually answering this kind of a question, learners do not, how can I say, they do not write in a proper way. Like when you're talking about causes of conflict, just giving an example, learners will write communication. Now my question is, how can communication be a problem? How can communication be a problem? So when you say something is a problem, it must actually shows that it's a problem. So when you want to say, okay, it's not communication, it's lack of communication, improper communication, inadequate communication. That is when it becomes what? A problem. So let's look at the causes of conflict in the workplace. The first one is we have personal differences, or we have different personalities. And grade 11s, we spoke a lot about these personalities last year, whereby I was telling you the introverts, the extroverts, getting to know each other. We have different personalities. That is the way God created us. I spoke a lot about melancholy. I spoke about sanguine. I spoke about choleric. I spoke about phlegmatic people. We've got different personalities in the workplace, and that is a huge source of conflict. Number 2, we have poor communication or lack of communication or improper communication or inadequate communication. Inadequate communication. And poor communication, not using the proper channel, not making sure that the information actually gets through to the receiver. You're not checking on and see if the person actually gets the information. Number 3 is what? Competition. But I don't want to just say competition. I want you to write it as what? Unhealthy competition. Unhealthy competition. Competition is good in the workplace. But the moment it becomes unhealthy, then it leads to conflict in the workplace. Competition is good. It pushes people to work. And at the same time, it makes work to be done on time. But I actually want you to look into unhealthy competition as a source of conflict in the workplace. Number 4 causes of conflict in the workplace is ignoring rules and procedures, not following the workplace rules and regulation, not complying with the code of conduct of the workplace, not following what is being written in your contract which you signed for, actually causes conflict in the workplace. Number 5, we have poor organization, poor leadership, poor administrative procedures and systems. When an when a manager lacks skills, he doesn't have a clear vision, is so disorganized, it causes conflict in the workplace because people don't know what to do. You tell me to do this thing today, you're telling me to do something else tomorrow. It leads to conflict in the workplace. Workload and stress, unrealistic what? Expectation. Excessive workload and stress, unrealistic expectation. You expecting me to finish those topic within 2 days, a topic that was supposed to take me for like 5 days, but you want me to finish that work with. No, it causes conflict in the workplace because it puts pressure on the employees. Confusion about scheduling and deadlines. You're not sure when to submit your report, you're not sure when to submit your worksheet or your timetable. It causes what? Confusion in the workplace, and those are examples of causes of conflict. Unclear responsibility. You're not sure about your role in the workplace, so which means there's no organogram. You are working as a top manager because the top manager is not in. Later on, the middle manager is sick, they take you down again. Or sometimes they even ask you to do the work of a janitor or a painter in the workplace. That is an example of unclear responsibility. Distracted by personal objective. That is, being distracted by personal objective is that, how can I say, you coming up with your own personal agenda in the workplace, or the manager is is into corruption and nepotism and so on and so forth. And we have lack of or insufficient resources. Lack of or insufficient resources. For example, maybe you have 10 employees and you only have 2 computers, you only have 2 photocopiers, and people are struggling to carry out their task. And lastly, we have constant changes. When there's constant changes in the workplace, because people are so used to certain ways of doing things, and tomorrow you just come up with a new thing, and people use that for like a week, then you come up with another thing, then people get so tired because people, especially human beings, we don't like change. The moment we are so used to certain ways of doing things, that is the comfort zone. So the moment the management keeps on changing that, it brings about a conflict in the workplace. So those are the causes of conflict in the workplace, and to me it's a kind of a revision of what we've done in grade 11. So I will be rounding up on that for today, and tomorrow I will be looking into 8.6 conflict resolution steps. What are the steps to follow to solve conflict? And at the same time, we'll be looking at the grievance procedure in the workplace. The grievance procedure is an interesting one. It normally comes out in the examination nearly every year, if not maybe every 2 years. So I will be dwelling more on the grievance procedure. There is a difference between conflict resolution, and there is difference between conflict resolution and at the same time procedures to deal with grievance in the workplace. So yes, tomorrow I will be finishing the topic, and do not forget to send me questions and contributions, deductions. Good afternoon, class.